Hello everyone, Giltar here with an action figure review. This time we'll be looking at SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Double or W, Cyclone Joker. It's an action figure that was recently released. It came out in February of 2010. It normally retails for 2,500 yen or basically $27 American at current exchange rates. Now this is my third SH Figuarts figure, the first one being another Agito, the second one I received was Gatak, and the third one being Kamen Rider Double Cyclone Joker. However, I'm not reviewing Gatak yet, as I'm going to save that for a later point. Now before we head into this figure's sort of accessories and other details, I do want to point out just again my appreciation for Bandai's choice of packaging design. As you can see, this two-piece plastic container for the figure is very efficient. It only really uses space for holding the figure, hand accessories, and scarf accessories. There's no large spaces where it's just doing nothing and just, you know, sort of making the box bigger than it needs to be. And this is something, again, that's great for action figure collectors that like to keep the boxes and packaging, because this saves a lot of space by being so efficient in its design. Something else to bring out about the packaging is the fact that the front of the box uses a motif that I think reflects the Cyclone Joker design. It uses a black background with a green lettering to reflect the colors of Cyclone Joker. However, on the back of the box, it's standard Figuarts design with promotional photography and some information about the figure and characters. Now moving on to the accessories, the figure comes with 4 pairs of hands, 2 scarves, and 2 components from the driver or double driver belt. Starting off with the hands, we have a pair of fists that come attached with the figure, a pair of open hands, and a pair of hands that are open but with pointing index fingers. Now, I do want to bring up a couple of points about the hands. First of all, really nicely detailed. Unfortunately, my camera can't really pick up the detail, but just really great sculpting done, good paint application for the Cyclone side, and just very good proportions. It's something that a lot of people may not notice, but hands are very difficult to do right in action figures, and the SH Figuarts line does a great job on these. Another thing to bring up are the 2 scarves. You get a sort of static position scarf that uses a ball joint connection here and goes onto the back of the collar of Double, and it sort of rests vertically on the back. The second scarf is an action pose sort of sculpt, and instead of resting horizontally, it goes vertically. Or rather, that was reversed. This rests vertically, and the action pose goes horizontally to basically make it look like it's blowing in the wind. Now, the double driver component on the front of the belt is removable. It connects via peg, and it's an L-shaped peg, which is pretty interesting. I think it lends more stability to the connection there. And then the maximum driver component is on the side and connects via rectangular peg as well. Very nicely sculpted. The double driver belt has some really nice details on them. Now, as far as articulation, it's standard for SH Figuarts, which means it has a great range of articulation and many points of articulation. Starting off with the lower legs, the ankles and feet, you have a bend at the toe as normal. Multiple hinged parts for the ankles. You can do side swiveling, front and back swiveling, rotation as well, though the ankle armor bits, the ankle cuffs, can get in the way, so just be careful there. Double hinged knees for a really great range of bending. Multiple joint hip components to allow you to move it down and up and rotate, and just a really good range of motion there. The waist has, I believe, a ball joint connection in there, so you can pivot it, you can bend it back and forth, and kind of turn it a little bit. You can't go a full rotation, but it's within, you know, normal human ranges. The upper chest here at the sort of breastplate or chest plate does allow some slight turning, but no real bend at all, so it's pretty limited at the mid-torso. The neck has a base connection within the torso, so you can bend it at the, you know, the bottom of the neck to have it look up and down. It also has a connection at the base of the skull, so it allows you to also bend and also rotate. The shoulders have hinged parts for the shoulder pads. Again, with, you know, most Kamen Rider or SH Figuarts figures, it has an internal ball joint connection in the chest and a hinged shoulder joint, so it allows a great range of motion, hinged sideways movement, rotation below the shoulder, double hinged elbow for a decent bend, though not quite 180 degrees. and double hinged or double ball joint wrist connectors as well for the hands. You have bending, wiggling, and turning articulation there. And finally, the scarf or muffler does actually have articulation. It can rotate and bend somewhat within the joint connection, or the hole rather. Now that does it for articulation, so let's head into the pros and cons. As normal, I'll head into the cons first. There are a few. First of all, it's been noted before by other reviewers and just people in general who collect these figures, is that the Cyclone side uses black plastic for the elbow and knee joints, which I don't think is terrible. I'm sure there's a reason for it. However, it's just unfortunate because it does detract from the visual look, because you have this great paint job and then you sort of have this black plastic in the elbow and the back of the knee that it is obtrusive, and visually it's sort of ugly, to be honest. Now, there's also an issue with paint application on the foot, which is die cast. It uses a glossy paint, and the Joker side of the body uses a sort of flat matte finish for the most part. And so this kind of like with the black elbow and knee parts, the glossy Joker foot side, or Joker foot, it just stands out visually because you have this sort of flat finish, and then you get to the foot and it's shiny. So that's something else to be considered. Also with the Gaia memories here on the double driver, the problem I have, and other people have mentioned it, is they're both black, and the Cyclone Gaia memory should be green. I mean, if Bandai's producers could actually color other parts of the Henshin belt or the double driver belt, it wouldn't have been too hard to make the Cyclone Gaia memory green as well. Another issue is the torso articulation. Just again at the chest, it's pretty limited, so it's almost like, I don't know why they bothered putting it there, because it doesn't add that much to the articulation at the chest. I mean, it could have been left out and there wouldn't have been any problems. Another issue with the torso is just it's really thin at the lower torso or the abdomen and the pelvis. I mean, basically, Double has no butt, so to speak. It has no pelvis section, and why that's significant is if you look at another Guido sculpt, it's very humanistic. He shows a nice humanistic form in the pelvis and torso section of the design, and so I don't know if it's because it's supposed to be accurate to the show, but from what I can recall that the costume actor for Double actually fills out his suit, and you can actually tell he has humanistic proportions, whereas the figure here is really thin and anorexic, to be honest. So that is something that stands out to me, because he looks too thin here. I don't know. Now, the extra cons I'm going to bring up are not product related, it's just specific to this figure. They're quality control issues. There's a few. First of all, on the Cyclone side, there's a blemish on the mold of the chest plate. There's basically a bump on the underside, and it's kind of ugly. It stands out. Also, on the Joker side, there's a scuff on the chest plate, and there's multiple scratches on the abdomen. And it's just, I'm paying good money for what essentially is almost a $30 action figure toy, and I expect $30 worth of quality control, and unfortunately it didn't get it there. And why I have to bring that up is that I noticed Gatac has a similar problem. On the underside of its chest plate, there's a blemish in the mold. It's a bump. There's also paint application issues on the helmet. There's paint chipping on the front mask part. And so why I need to bring this up is that out of my 3 SH Figuarts figures, 2 of them have some pretty significant quality control issues. And if these are high-end figures, again, I expect high-end quality control in these products. And I'm a little disappointed so far by those points. Now, that being said, let's get into the pros. First of all, this is a wonderful sculpt. Even though I do have problems with the proportions of the pelvis and abdomen section of Double, aside from that, it's very accurate to the TV show. Wonderful paint job on the Cyclone side. A really great look of the matte sort of finish on the Joker side. I like how you have molded details for the chest components here for the Cyclone pattern and the Joker pattern. You also get it on the cuffs of the wrists and cuffs of the ankles. Even just the sculpted detailing of the rest of the costume here with the fine ridges at the joint sections, and even when you raise the shoulder pads, you have a fully ridged sculpt there. The head sculpt is great. I really like the look of Double. Very simplistic style compared to some of the more recent Kamen Rider designs, and I really like the forehead. Well, it's not a V fin. I'll call it a W fin. because that's what essentially it is. And I really like the look of that, and also the compound eyes. And I just like how the center sort of silver line in the middle of Double is molded. It's not just a paint job. It's molded and it's painted over, and that's just part of the Figuarts level of quality in general. And I think a lot of people who collect action figures can appreciate it. It has great articulation, many accessories, especially for the hands, and it's just extremely good for posing and a wonderful display piece. And again, just the fact you can remove the double driver and the maximum driver components, adds to the value of the figure. So overall, I do recommend this action figure. I think it's a great product. I'm a big fan of SH Figuarts, and I'm going to be buying more figures for sure in the future. So aside from a few issues, I do actually recommend this product. So that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.